Spongebob, A Sponge Out of Water is directed by Paul Tibbitt and stars the original cast of the insanely popular kids animated series SpongeBob SquarePants. This movie is the second full-length movie produced by the SpongeBob franchise and comes 10 years after the first movie, A Spongebob Movie. Now going into this movie, I didn't have huge expectations. Not that I thought the movie wasn't going to be good or the movie wasn't going to be bad, I just thought this movie was going to be a SpongeBob movie. And it was a SpongeBob movie. The biggest thing I have to say about this movie is, if you like SpongeBob, you are probably going to like this movie. If you don't like SpongeBob, or the contents that SpongeBob includes, you're not going to like this movie. Now personally, I had trouble watching this movie. Not because it was bad or anything, just because I do somewhat feel removed from SpongeBob. SpongeBob started in 1999 when I was much younger, and yes, now the franchise is 16 years old. Yeah, we all feel old. And as stated, the previous SpongeBob movie came out 10 years ago. So yes, watching this movie, I did feel disconnected from SpongeBob because when I watched SpongeBob as a kid, it was different than what this movie had. It was more gritty, it was more like a serious, not a serious cartoon, but it had definitely more jokes grown-ups would get. It had more subliminal things, and this movie unfortunately didn't have what the original series or even the original movie had. But I do feel a bit biased because, like I said, I have seen the entirety of the SpongeBob franchise, and I have seen the show progress or degress, or however you would like to see it. It has come through its changes between animation, content, and all things that include in the SpongeBob, and I do feel biased because I like the original SpongeBob better. But what I do have to say is kids currently that watch SpongeBob now probably will like the movie. Now I saw this movie last night, and I do have to say, besides the parents, I was the oldest one there because there was kids, parents, and then somewhere in between was me. I don't know how the parents were feeling, but I did hear the kids laugh a lot for all the jokes in the movie. And that makes me believe that if I was a kid in this day and age watching SpongeBob how it is now, I would find these jokes funny. I just feel removed from the whole SpongeBob thing, and that's why maybe I didn't find the same jokes that they did funny, just because I guess I'm just older and I don't find that humorous anymore, and I just thought a lot of times they were forced jokes. But like I said, the kids laughed, and so kids are going to enjoy this movie. As far as content goes, the movie is pretty good. It tells the same story once again as Plankton, Mr. Krabs' arch enemy, trying to take the secret formula to the Krabby Patty. But this time there's a twist when the Krabby Patty secret formula all of a sudden disappears and nobody knows where it goes. This creates an apocalyptic version of Bikini Bottom where society just crumbles because they can't make Krabby Patties anymore and everybody goes insane. And I thought that was pretty cool. I like to see Bikini Bottom, this peaceful, joyful, underwater city, just completely crumble, and just these crazy things happen because they can't make Krabby Patties. They also snuck in some references from other movies such as A Clockwork Orange, and believe me, not a single kid in that theater has seen that movie. I wasn't even alive when that movie came out. I have seen it and I get the reference, but I just thought it was kind of funny. There was one part that I didn't care for too much, and that was the Antonio Banderas part and the whole pirate story, and I think it was just something the producers or the director put in because they could either make the story longer or they can use the new CGI whole sponge out of water thing with all the characters now becoming superheroes and going onto land to fight this pirate for the secret formula. The previews are misleading because the majority of the movie is classic old school animation, and only the later part of the movie, basically the end of the movie, has that CGI, that claymation look. Not really claymated, but it looks like claymation. It's CGI, and only the end of it kind of has that aspect to it, and then it goes right back to animation. So don't let that preview fool you. It's mostly traditional animation. There were some parts, I don't know if it was budget or something, that just looked bad. I mean, it was a kids movie, so they're not picking up on that, but the green screen looked like green screen, and some of the things were just clearly bad. But again, it's a kids movie, so I almost have to let that slide just because kids don't care, and if it's a movie targeted for kids, then who cares? All in all, SpongeBob is a great time for those who like SpongeBob, and will probably be a terrible time for those who don't like SpongeBob. It's that simple. As a casual viewer rating, I'm going to have to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I'm sure a kid who loves SpongeBob would give it a 10 out of 10, and I'm sure an adult who hates SpongeBob would give it a 0 out of 10. But for me, as viewing it as a person who likes SpongeBob but might have outgrown it a bit, I have to give it a 6.5 out of 10, simply because the humor didn't strike home as much as I'd like it to, and the story was a little loose and not so interesting, but still a good time all around. For the critic rating, I'm gonna have to give it a 4 out of 10 simply because it's an animated movie, it's a kids movie, it's silly, it's kind of dumb, but it's fun. And unfortunately, these kind of movies don't get the same critical acclaim as other movies that are more serious or really movies of any sort of quality. I think you could say the story was weak, the graphics were weak, the whole thing wasn't as tight as it could be, and it's short. It's short in a good way because it doesn't go on too long, but it's really just an extended episode of SpongeBob, which more money was put into it, and they're going to make a lot of money, trust me, a lot of money from kids wanting to go see this movie. Don't forget to smack the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, and do everything you can to make this channel seem better than it actually is. Follow me on Twitter at AlbinoFilms, Instagram AlbinoFilms, and for any personal questions you might have, email me at albinofilms365@gmail.com. This has been an approved message from the Raging Albino. See you next time.